We live in a world where women are expected to have it all figured out, you know? Perfect home, perfect job, perfect body, perfect everything, perfect. But what happens if something fails? What happens if things don't go the right direction? What if your family, your marriage breaks? What if you get fired from your job or your business fails? What if your child does something wrong? Or what if you don't just have the energy to go on? A friend once told me that no matter how many times I try, no matter how many times I start a business, I will fail because I've started so many times and I've always failed, and he doesn't expect anything better from me. And you know what? I believed him and I failed. Yeah, it was that bad. I let failure define me to an extent that everyone knew and associated me with failure, and I would always start and fail with no dignity. So much so that even if someone sees you doing something, they feel that you're just going to fail. Like they're waiting for the next time you are going to fail. And it reached a point where I associated myself with failure. I even called myself an expert at failing, something that I'm so sad about right now because I felt right now I come to understand that I have made so many mistakes out of my failures instead of learning from my failures. And I've come to learn that failing is not supposed to be the end of my story. It's supposed to be the soil in which the next chapter of my life grows. And that's why today I want us to talk about not just failing, but failing with dignity. There are 4 points that I came to acknowledge and understand that if we take these into consideration, no matter how many times we fail, we'll be failing but retaining our dignity. Number one is owning your story. Yeah, I've learned to own my story. Sometimes when we fail, we don't want to talk about it. Like after failing, when that friend told me, at that point I was selling mutumba, second-hand clothes. So I started, and the moment I just released my first bail, he told me I was going to fail. He's used to me failing. And when I failed, I just sublimed. I just carried my things and phew, I didn't even want to talk about it with anyone. When anyone mentioned that topic, I would shrink. I never wanted to talk about my failing. And the many businesses that I've started and failed, I've never wanted to talk about them because I'm like, every time someone mentions them, I feel like they are pricking. They want to like fight me with my failures instead of looking at it from the point of sharing and learning from them. I look at it from the point of like they are against me and not wanting to help me. So one thing that I've learned is we need to own our failures, not with shame, but with dignity. Own it. It's your failure. Own it. Learn from it. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What can I do differently? So what are the reasons why I failed? Even if you don't have a friend to share with, you can share it with yourself. Journal. Write it down somewhere. You know, there are so many ways you can write down. You can even use online diaries. You can practice journaling using physical books, hard copy books, or you can even write a letter to yourself. There are so many sites online nowadays that you can use for those. Write it down. Make sure you don't run away from that failure. Because running away from it, when you're running away, you're just going to make another mistake. Because you've not learned from this previous failure, you are going to fail again and run away and fail again and run away. That's why I've failed so many times, and that's what I've learned. You have to own your failure, not with shame, but with dignity. The second thing that I have learned that can help us fail with dignity is that you should never let your failure define you. You are not the problem. You are not your brokenness. You are not your failure. If anything has gone wrong, you are not the problem. Let it not define you. Yeah? If your marriage is failing, look at what the problem could be. But even if you've contributed into that problem, but you are not the problem. Let it not define you to an extent that you now associate yourself with failure. If you did something, you failed in an exam, now you fear taking another exam because you think you're stupid. You are letting that failure to define you. If you started a business and you failed, if you want to let that failure define you, you'll not even have the courage to start a business again because you'll always feel like you are going to fail. You want it to be part and parcel of your life. Whenever you're working, whenever you are doing something, you have already made yourself a failure even before you start. Number 3, stay humble, but don't shrink back. Stay humble, but don't shrink back. Don't compromise your values. We all want to succeed, but don't shrink back. There's this point I was facing so many difficulties. And then a friend told me that, you're failing because your values are too strict. You need to loosen a bit. Bribe someone every now and then, lie every now and then, do something, just relax your faith a bit, then you'll not fail. So I was like, okay, I'm open to learning. I want to learn from people. I don't want to fail. But at what cost? Yeah? At what cost? Is it at the cost of my faith? Is it at the cost of my marriage? Is it at the cost of what I believe in? Yeah? There's no way I'm going to let myself shrink and let other people control me just because I don't want to fail. Leave yourself some space. Leave yourself some dignity. As much as you've failed, yes, you've started a business and you failed. But do you have to bribe people to get tenders just so that you don't fail? Are you going to be able to even live with your conscience after that? Leave yourself some room. Leave yourself some dignity. Don't shrink back. Ask God, what are you saying at this moment? Which direction do you want me to go? You probably failed. Maybe you failed in raising your child. They have done something. Your child has been suspected of doing some criminal activity, or maybe they're failing in school, or maybe you are considering yourself as a failure. In my community, if a child does something wrong, he or she is told something like ifuo kameru. Ifuo kameru means you're as stupid as your mother. Yeah, so you want to associate yourself with that stupidity because the society expects that child to be perfect. If the child is perfect, they are as perfect as the dad. But if they're not perfect, then they're as stupid as the mother. Don't shrink back because of societal expectations. Just because that child is not performing perfectly well, that is not enough to define you. It is not your responsibility. Yes, you have the responsibility to show them the direction. You have the responsibility to nurture them and give them the right way that they should follow. But whatever failure that comes your way, it should not define you. It should not make you shrink to an extent that you don't have a voice anymore. To an extent that you can't even stand up and correct something that you believe is wrong, and just let people control you and lead you by the nose. You'll not be having any dignity left. And the last thing is that you should let grace speak louder than guilt. You are going to be guilty, yeah? If you fail, you're going to be guilty. If you failed exams, for example, you'll be like, oh, now I've wasted my parents' money. They could have paid for my brother. I could have done better. Now you're feeling guilty. Or maybe you are given money to start a business by your hubby, and then you're like, oh, now I've wasted money that could have been used to do something. Now you're feeling guilty, you don't want to start again. So no matter how many times you are going to feel guilty, it's not going to change anything. If you failed, you failed, but it should not define you. That is what I keep on saying. Yeah, let grace speak louder than guilt. If your support system, let's take an example. If it was your parent and you failed an exam, they're going to have some grace. If they're meant to support you, they'll be like, yeah, we can do it again, you can do it better. Yeah, if you failed at something, if you started maybe working out and it's not doing well, you're not seeing yourself losing weight or something, and you feel like you're failing, those who matter won't mind. I like that phrase. Those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. If someone minds, then that person does not matter. So let it not define you. Don't shrink back, don't compromise. Just do what you know is right and rise again. Proverbs 31 woman, she is clothed with dignity, with strength and dignity. That's not because she doesn't fail. She fails, but after falling every time, she rises back again. That's now supposed to be our motto. No matter how many times you fall, you have to rise back again. And if you failed before, or if you know someone who is battling failure, remember that it is not the end of your story. It is just like one door closing and opening another door for something better. If you have to cry, yeah, cry, deal with those emotions. If you have to rest, rest. If you have to sleep or do anything, do it. Give yourself a vacation, give yourself a break, just relax. Let other people take care of you. And then after doing all that, rise back again. That is what we call failing with dignity. If this resonates with you, don't forget to share and don't forget to subscribe. And keep it right here so that we can discuss more and I can share more of my stories, how I've failed and come out of them, how I've battled so many different things, be it depression, failing, all those things, motherhood, womanhood. Yeah, this is the space. And remember to share. Thank you and see you in the next video. Bye.